All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Living the Dream podcast. Today on the show, we are talking about getting sick of your own BS. What do I mean by that? Well, today we're going through Proverbs 1, verses 29 through 31, and that's what I pulled from these verses. So I'm just going to read them, and you can see for yourself. Here we go. Because they hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of the Lord, would have none of my counsel and despised all reproof. Therefore they shall eat the fruit of their way and have their fill of their own devices. Now, why did I get that from these verses? First, some context. Here, wisdom is talking to us, and in the call of wisdom, it really starts in Proverbs 1, verse 20. Wisdom is like seeking us and seeking us and seeking us. And every time wisdom extends a hand, tries to give us reproof, tries to give us counsel, we've been turning away. After we turned away, calamity struck. And wisdom is mocking us because this calamity struck now. When that calamity struck, we had distress, we had anguish, and now we are seeking wisdom, but we cannot find wisdom. Which brings us to these verses. We call upon wisdom, because we hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of the Lord. That was wisdom sticking out, wisdom's hand. There's so much wisdom in the Bible. We did not heed the advice of that wisdom. We did not choose fear of the Lord. We would have no counsel. We despised all reproof. Now we're eating the fruit of our own ways. In Christianity, we like to call it sin, but people, I really think that's a great word for it. Just action that happens not out of faith, right? Out of separation from God. That's why that action can exist. Anyway, we're doing stupid stuff, basically. And we're eating the fruit of our own way and having our fill of our own devices. And I say you need to get sick of your BS because of this last verse. Eat the fruit of their own way. That's your own BS. Have your fill of your devices. Because I think a lot of us, it's not a extreme event that is the tipping point, but it's a slightly extreme event that happens after a buildup. It's kind of like a tip of the iceberg situation. And a lot of us need to eat our own fruit, eat our own fruit, eat our own fruit, and realize it's not working, realize it's not working, realize it's not working, bang our head against the wall, bang our head against the wall, bang our head against the wall. And I said that so redundantly because that is exactly what we do in our life. And once we have our fill of our own devices, only then are we usually humbled enough and brought to our knees enough to heed the counsel and seek the reproof of wisdom. So, where has this shown up in my life? I would say my daily podcast. This came as a result of me not being consistent. Like, I was just angry with myself. I was angry with my life. I was angry with the results I was getting because I wasn't consistent. And my level of action increased when I got sick of my BS of not being consistent. So I started a daily podcast. Insurance sales. My chosen opportunity changed. Now I'm going into insurance sales because it has upside. It is commission only, but I got sick of my fear of being in a commission only job. I got sick of my capped income being in jobs. I got sick of the dog and pony show when interviewing for jobs. I got sick of the fact that I was pursuing opportunities that didn't have product market fit. I got sick of the fact that I was pursuing opportunities that had a long sales cycle. I needed something that had product market fit, was in a market that had money, had a quick sales cycle, and had huge upside. And that tends to only happen in commission-only gigs in a way that you can control it and scale quickly in a sense that you are getting most of the comp. Because if somebody's paying you a salary, they're taking on increased risk because if you don't perform, they're just out that money. But in commission-only, it is like a job in the sense that your security is in your skill. Like if you're in a job and you can't do the job, you're going to get fired in 3 to 6 months. Well, if you're in commission-only sales and you can't sell, you're not going to make money in that 3 to 6 months. And it's kind of a similar vibe, just more of the risk, more of the accountability is on you, right? Less risk for people who are invested in you. So I would say insurance sales has been another way it's shown up where I just got sick of like not listening to advice, got sick of like living in fear, got sick of my own BS and lack of faith. And I was like, you're going to go for this. And you're going to do it because you know you can, and this opportunity has been put in front of you, and it will help you get to your goals, which is impacting people in a really meaningful and important way. My wholesaling and real estate story, I got sick of teaming up with the wrong people. Here's another form of BS. Like when you think you are low level and when you think that you aren't good enough to succeed, you team up with people who think the same thing. And when you team up with those types of people, chances are you're all living in fear. I'm not saying they're bad people. I'm not saying they're good people. I'm just saying you're living in fear. And living in fear is not a recipe for success. So I had a 16 unit under contract. I was scared that I couldn't raise the money. I didn't have the network, so I tried to team up with some people. We were all kind of scared. It was all kind of our first deal. The deal fell through. Then I did some wholesaling stuff with my brother and his friend, and we were all kind of beginner wholesalers. Whereas like I had a lot of the information, but hadn't done a lot of the execution yet. And also we weren't set up financially to do it well. We just weren't setting ourselves up for success. So I was like, I'm gonna design a team that has all the resources, has all the skills, and has people who want to execute on those skills and sets us up to do it consistently. And that can only happen if you have the finances and you have the knowledge. So I built a team with the finances and the knowledge, and I'm going after a syndication team that will also have the finances and the knowledge. And now it's like beautiful opportunities come to me with that team. Like I didn't even build that team. It was offered to me and I was offered a spot on that team, which was an amazing thing because we have a financier, we have a dispo guy, which is me, and then we have an acquisitions guy. And all of us know what we're doing. Like we know we can do real estate. And so getting a team of killers versus a team of beginners is another thing I would have to say there. So that's where it's shown up in my life. I've just gotten sick of my BS in multiple areas of my business life. And then there are places where I haven't gotten sick of my BS. And so where do I want to show up in my life? I want to get sick of tolerating other low-level stuff in my life. And that's like stuff like being bloated, not drinking water. Like it is 8:32. I've been up since 6:30 and I haven't had a sip of water yet. Why? Not stretching. My struggle with lust, like I let my mind wander, and when that mind wanders, it's like I'm putting myself in situations that are hard for me to win lust-wise, and that's just silly. My financial situation, the opportunities that I've been choosing, and the level of action I take, and the excuses I give myself. Like I still have them. I've chosen a different opportunity. I've taken steps. I've grown. My podcast has been consistent. All that stuff is good, but my financial situation still isn't where I need it to be, where I want it to be. And why do I tolerate that? My living in fear. This is the biggest one. Why do I tolerate living in fear? And so I wanted to show up in my life by getting sick of tolerating other low-level BS that's going on in my life. But then also, I love this part where it's saying, therefore they shall eat the fruit of their own way. And I love that part because now I know I need to not eat the fruit of my own way, but I need to eat the fruit of wisdom's way. And yeah, I can think of like the fruit of the Spirit, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. I would assume that has something to do with wisdom because the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. So if you fear the Lord, you're going to get wisdom, and God calls us to that. And so some obedience, I would assume, would give me some wisdom, right? So I want to eat that fruit as opposed to eating my own fruit. So I want to get sick of my BS and choose to eat the fruit that God has laid out for me and given me and has thrown a party for me. The fruit sitting there at the party table just waiting for me to eat it. And I'm sitting there in the corner eating trash out the trash can. Just don't get it, right? And so how can you apply this to your life? Think of that thing that you hate to do and then find a way to get sick of it. Doing it so much that you grow weary of it. I learned this in learning psychology in college. If your kid like doesn't put their shoes where they need to when they walk in the door, like say you have a shoe cubby and they're supposed to put their shoes in the shoe cubby and they just throw their shoes off to the side, make them walk through that door 1,000 times. And each time they do it, they have to throw their shoes to the side. And then on the 1,001st time, when they walk through the door, have them put their shoes in the shoe cubby and then don't let them, or have them not walk through the door anymore. And it's like, put your shoes in the shoe cubby and you won't have to do that again. And since you just did it 1,000 times straight, you probably hate it now. So if you find something that you hate to do it so much that you grow weary of doing it. And now do this within reason. Like if maybe you hate the fact that you drink alcohol, please do not drink so much alcohol that you hate drinking alcohol. That could have negative effects. If it's drugs, similar thing. If it's the thing that you hate to do that is bad for you. Like if you're doing something that you hate to do that is good for you, do it consistently. and show up consistently. I'm not saying stop doing the things that wisdom tells you to do. I'm saying stop eating the fruit of your own way. So think of the thing that you hate to do that is not good for you, that is you eating your own fruit, and get your fill of it by doing it so much that you hate it and you get sick of it. Change your community. So the people around you probably tolerate that behavior. Get in a community that doesn't tolerate that behavior. Remove the stimuli that generate the thoughts that lead to the feelings that lead to that behavior. You could expose the pain for what it is. So if you're doing something where you're eating of your own fruit, you're not listening to wisdom, it's probably causing you pain, it's probably causing you calamity, distress, anguish, some of the stuff that was talked about in the earlier Proverbs. And if that is the case, like, expose the pain for what it is, and then realize that you shouldn't have to deal with that pain because that's not what you're called for. And you are dealing with that pain because of stupid stuff that you're doing. And hopefully that helps you get sick of it. Another thing you can do is improve your self-worth, and it's very similar to expose the pain. So when you expose the pain, if you think you are worth experiencing that pain, you'll continue to experience that pain. But if you improve your self-worth to the point of, like, I'm not a dog who drinks out the toilet, you'll drink water out the sink instead of the toilet, or you'll drink filtered water instead of water out the sink. All of that stuff. So those are some things you can do. First, identify the thing that you hate, and it's something that you hate that is you eating your own fruit, so it's bad for you. If you hate something that wisdom's telling you to do, my advice to you would be to keep taking wisdom's hand so that calamity doesn't strike. But if it's something you hate to do, that is you eating your own fruit, find a way to get sick of it. That can be doing it so much you grow weary of it, changing your community, removing the stimuli that lead to that action, exposing the pain for what it is, and improving your self-worth. In addition to that, start eating wisdom's fruit, which means get some wisdom. All right, guys, that is all we got for you. Thank you so much for listening to the show. We will see you on the next one. And on that note, we're out.